just don't know where I can go. Fun's getting low. Winter is a coming fast and colder than the last. Pity for me, cold it can be when breezes blow with ice and snow. No wonder then I sing time and again.
Welcome to Sparky on Ice, the coldest podcast on the internet. Today is August 19th, and I have been on ice for 215 days. Welcome back, everybody. I had a pretty good week, I think. It was my first week as foreman, and it was very, very busy. Even though I don't have anyone to oversee, there's a lot of stuff to get done this week. We had winterization or dewinterizations to do, and the prairie pumps were still giving us issues at the beginning of the week. So those are set up on a flow meter, and if there's not enough flow, then the safeties kick in and they turn themselves off. And we had everything working last week. Everything was great. And then Monday morning, they weren't working right. They were kicking off after 15 seconds, which is what the safety is set up for. And that's fine. But we had to figure out why they were doing that. And I had an explanation from the beginning. And my explanation was, well, you're going from a 6-inch pipe to a 4-inch pipe with all these valves that aren't all the way open. You're not getting enough flow. It's causing back pressure. And, since I'm an electrician and they didn't take it too seriously. And honestly, I can't blame them because I really don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to that sort of stuff. But it kind of made sense to me. So we started looking at control issues, looking at settings. And, was this part bad? Was that part bad? And we started replacing parts. And then someone came up with the idea of what changed. And the thing that had changed was when we were running it over the weekend, it was running straight down the drain. There was no no smaller pipes or anything, just straight out the drain. And so what we did was we opened up that drain again, and it ran just fine. And it turns out that my initial idea was right. I just didn't word it correctly to be able to figure it out quickly. So we spent 2 days on that when I technically had it right to begin with. But that's fine. We got it working, and everybody's happy now. We now know how they work, and that stuff is going in the SOP so that we don't make that mistake again next year. And then there's just lots of stuff to do. They want some buttons put in at MacOps, which have to be in before the WindFly flights. And it's kind of last minute because the DEC guy was trying to get to it, but he couldn't. So they brought it to us, and now I'm trying to do it in between all this other stuff, including emergency repairs and frozen pipes and just stuff like that, having to troubleshoot heat trace issues and stuff. It's just been an incredibly busy week, but it was also a very fun week. We did karaoke again, and I had a blast. I did 4 songs. I did Hurt and Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash. And then I did 2 duets. One was California Dreamin' and Somebody That I Used to Know by Gautier. On that one, I was saved by Steve. He volunteered last minute to do the Kimbra part on that because I had asked for a non-duet, and it came up as a duet, and that would be really weird. But it was very entertaining. We kind of acted out the parts a little bit, and it was really fun. Everybody has told me that was their favorite performance of the night, if not the best vocal performance, but definitely the most fun because I can't sing. I have video of it, and if you want to see the video, it's private because it contains other people. But if you want to see it, drop me a line and I'll send you a link. But it won't be on the public YouTube. It'll be a unlisted YouTube. So yeah, that was fun. I went all night. And then the next night, there was a concert. And normally I don't do the concerts around here, but one of my friends was playing. So I was all right, I'll come down and enjoy it. So it started out with some country music and bluegrass. Guy's pretty good. He played a banjo, and it was entertaining. And then the other band came in, and man, this one my friend is on, and he was the guitar player. And oh wow, can he play? Just absolutely amazing. He had, I don't know if he got every note right, but it sounded so good. He played a bunch of classic rock, like he played a bunch of Heart because one of the women around here said she wanted to sing Heart, so they played some Heart so she could sing Heart, and then they did some Black Sabbath and CCR and Jimi Hendrix, and it was just wow. I haven't seen anybody play like Ike down here before, and he's just amazing. And then we also had our last winter all hands meeting. They went over all the stats, which we've had less injuries this year than any other year, which is good. Part of that is because we have had a less than normal amount of snow, and it hasn't been as cold. So there's not as many slips, trips, and falls, which is good. We've also had some excess people who were supposed to come down and build the ice pier, and there's no ice pier this year because the ice never froze enough. So those guys that came down for the ice pier have been stuck on road maintenance, which is great because they keep the roads clear and keep everything graded and all the dirt put down where it needs to be. It's been really nice because I hate the ice. Some of the other stuff that happened there was they gave out all the thank yous and handed out the flags of all the 12 countries that signed the Antarctic Treaty that normally fly over the chalet, which is our NSF building. And they went out to people who went above and beyond, and I think they went out pretty much to the people that needed them. And so it was pretty cool. Nice award for people that worked really hard this year. And Sunday we had the Pinewood Derby, which I talked about last time. Sadly, I did not win, but I did okay until the weights that I was using flew off my car, and it was a double elimination, so I only won 1 out of 3 races. Not horrible, but I'd hoped to do a bit better. But there were some fairly impressive entries. Some were very well engineered, and they were really fast. Others were just kind of cool to look at, like the telco department entered one that looked like a cordless phone, and they even on the display had it set up on a cordless phone base, so it was kind of neat. The field center had one that looked like a snowmobile, and another one that looked like one of our shuttle vans, or the NASA van. Pretty nice, and really well done stuff. Fire department had a fire truck with real hose on it, or at least it looked like real hose, little tiny strings. Very neat. Our physical therapist made one that was a femur, and we even had a DeLorean and a Firebird. Did some really good work there. However, the winner for the fastest car was our refrigeration tech. He made one that looked like his work truck filled with barrels of glycol. Glycol is what we use for heating source around here. It's kind of like we run it through the generators to warm it up, and then we send it out through the system as like radiator heat. And we've had so many glycol issues this year that everybody's been on it. So it was kind of funny that his glycol truck won for the fastest. I will put the picture I took of all the entries on the table as the cover image for this episode. Oh, our IT lead, this one was funny, she's in charge of the internet basically, and she made a car that was just a block and called it Facebook and YouTube. And its first time down the track, it crashed. And the first words out of everybody was like, just like real life, Facebook crashed. And our safety guy made one that looked like a doorstop. And it was really well-made car. It was pretty well designed. But the first run, he was winning, and then he must have hit something because his wheel fell off and it went skidding down the track. He did recover after that and came back and did pretty well in the standings, much better than I did. We had a good time, and it was a great community and morale event. And then today, we hit our first Con 1 of the winter. It only lasted for about 30 minutes, but it really should have lasted much longer. They don't like to call Con 1 here because you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, you're stuck wherever you're at whenever they call Con 1. I was in the office, and one of the other guys called the station manager to see if we could do a walk down to the main building, and he was like, "No, sorry, you can't do it. It's Con 1, can't leave unless it's an absolute emergency," which is fine. It only lasted 30 minutes, so we were okay. Even though we don't have a bathroom in that building, it was going to get pretty tight. But visibility was pretty bad all day, all in all. Like I said, it should have lasted longer, but luckily it didn't. It was snowing and windy for most of the day. And we had a peak wind gust today of 62 miles per hour. Luckily, it was a nice and warm 6 degrees, or it would have been really, really miserable outside with that sort of wind. I mean, it's bad enough as it was, but 6 degrees is tolerable. Today was also the first sunrise, which happened to be the same time as our Con 1. And I had mentioned during dinner how much I enjoyed watching our sunrise. And it made everyone at the table laugh because we all knew we couldn't see it. But this afternoon, the snow started slowing down, and we could see some sunlight on Mount Discovery. That's the big mountain on the other side of the Sound. And after 4 months with no sound, even with no sun, even that is a welcome sight. We will see how much I like the sun in another month when there's nothing but sun. Also, thanks to the Con 1, the Windfly planes are being delayed even more. They had already been delayed a day for mechanical issues. They were supposed to arrive today, and now they've been pushed to tomorrow and possibly Wednesday before the first one gets here. That means 10 people are stuck here and 78 others are stuck in Christchurch. We are about to get very crowded because there's 4 flights this week, and we're going to end up with 280 people on station. I am not excited for all the summer people that are coming later this year. It's going to be a mess. And when that first flight lands in a couple days, we'll also lose our Wi-Fi. Not looking forward to that either. The only good thing is that I learned I will not get a roommate until October. So 2 more months of my own room. All right, I think that's enough update for this week. I'm going to move on to history. And since we did some others, we skipped over the Scottish National Antarctic Expedition last week, so we're going to cover that this week. So it was organized and led by William Spears Bruce, a natural scientist and former medical student from the University of Edinburgh. The expedition has been described as, quote, by far the most cost-effective and carefully planned scientific expedition of the heroic age, and it was from 1902 to 1904. So in autumn of 1901, Bruce purchased a Norwegian whaler at a cost of £2,600, and during the following months, the ship was completely rebuilt as an Antarctic vessel, with 2 laboratories, a darkroom, and extensive specialist equipment. 2 huge revolving cylinders carrying 6,000 fathoms or 36,000 feet of cable were fitted to the deck to enable deep sea trawling and for marine specimens. Other equipment was installed for making depth soundings and for collection of seawater and sea bottom samples, also for meteorological and magnetic observations. And it was named the Scotia. And they left Troon, Scotland on November 2nd, 1902, and reached Port Stanley in the Falkland Islands on January 6, 1903, where they were reprovisioned for the Antarctic journey. On January 26th, they set sail for the Antarctic waters. They encountered heavy pack ice on February 3rd, 25 miles north of South Orkney Islands. And the next day, they were able to move southward again and land a small party on Saddle Island, South Orkney Islands, where a large number of botanical and geological specimens were gathered. Ice conditions prevented further progress until February 10th, when they continued southward. They reached 70 degrees south on February 22nd and were deep in the Weddell Sea. They hit more sea ice and were forced to turn north. Having failed to find land, the expedition had to decide where to winter. The matter was of some urgency since the sea ice would be freezing over and the risk of the ship becoming trapped. Bruce decided to head back to South Orkneys and find anchorage point there. After several attempts to locate suitable anchorage, and with its rudder seriously damaged by ice, the ship found a sheltered bay on the southern shore of Lauria Island, most easterly of the South Orkney chain. on March 25th,